That's so true. Most of the time, you're right. Actually, probably more than 90% of the time, you're right. For me, I bought into Misty to get that monthly income and to build up my portfolio. And so there's a strategy in both ways, and I can definitely see buying the underlying as a strategy for sure. But my strategy, what I'm doing is I'm just buying the yieldmax funds to pay me a monthly income. So far, so good with that. Hello, YouTube. How are you? My name is Mike, coming to you from Health and Wealth. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Saturday, November the 9th, 2024, as we discuss MSTY. Those in the Yield Max community, you'll know it as MSTY. This is a ETF that follows the underlying stock of MicroStrategy. Uh, MSTR is a stock symbol. And yeah, we collect monthly distributions paid to us by the yieldmax folks on MSTY. And so this video is going to be talking about the monthly distributions that they paid out so far. But I'm also going to discuss with you what my plans are with this. And I made a move. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk about that move coming up here in a little bit. So I've been with MSTY now. I'm just cheating over here by looking. I've been with MSTY since June of this year. So this is going to be my 7th distribution coming up here in 2 weeks. Well, I think it's like 8 days, something like that, away for the announcement of the MSTY distribution. Don't quote me on the 8, but it's probably pretty close to that. So, yeah, I've had 6 payouts from MSTY so far. It's been really, really great. My share purchase price is at a good level right now. The share price of MSTY is doing very well right now as well. And so I want to share some of those details with you, and then I want to share with you what I did on Friday afternoon while at work. So I took some screenshots for your viewing pleasure of what I did. And it's just maybe another idea for the investors out there for something they can do to generate more income. I'm wondering if you can probably guess it before I even reveal it. Let's go find out here on my screen. So first thing I'm going to do is just show you the MSTY ETF. This is on Google. Let me zoom up to or scroll up to it here. So currently trading at $30.97. If you look at it over the last 5 days, it gained 12%, which you cannot be too disappointed about. That's for sure, especially on an ETF that's not holding the shares of the company. 12%, well, almost even 13% is really good. Over the last month, 14%. And it's only gone up 1.18% in the last 6 months. Now, you'll notice that it was at one point here back on May 20th, $35.22. So it had a dramatic decline at that point, all the way down to $19.07. And that was only 2 months ago, right? So if you're an investor in MSTY, you have to understand that it is quite volatile. It does have its peaks and valleys as well. And expect the risk, right? And so for myself, just, doing my own account over here, I understand that the price of this ETF can go down, it can go up, and I'm comfortable with it as long as it keeps paying me that monthly income. So let's take a look at MSTR or MicroStrategy. I actually posted an entire earnings call to MicroStrategy last week. I'll put it at the end of this video. My recommendation is zoom forward to the Michael Saylor portion of that video. It was really eye-opening. It was very interesting. And I don't say that ever about earnings calls. Usually they're very dry. And it was very dry until he started talking. And I mean, I'm guessing you could probably still find it dry, but I found a lot of valuable information about MicroStrategy at that portion of the video. So MicroStrategy itself also had a very good week here, trading at $270 per share. It went up 19% compared to MSTY's 12%. And then the last month, 43% here, which is quite a bit more than Misty did. And people do ask, why would you own Yieldmax's ETF MSTY when you can just buy the underlying and potentially make more? That's so true. Most of the time, you're right. Actually, probably more than 90% of the time, you're right. For me, I bought into Misty to get that monthly income and to build up my portfolio. And so there's a strategy in both ways, and I can definitely see buying the underlying as a strategy for sure. But my strategy, what I'm doing is I'm just buying the YieldMax funds to pay me a monthly income. So far, so good with that. So there's micro strategies. I want to share with you my what I have here, and I posted this on a video earlier this week, and I'm just gonna make my face a little bit smaller so you can see that. All right, yeah, I think that's everything in there. So I've had Misty now for 6 months. The first month was a $25 dividend. The total investment I put into Misty so far is 4,552. All of that money came from Nvidia, and I put 500 of my own dollars in there. So all of that came from the Nvidia dividends so far, and a little bit of Misty dividend in there as well. Total dividends received. This is in US. I'm going to show you the Canadian version here 2 seconds, but $887. That's post tax as well. So I've already been taxed at that point. Realized return on capital 19%. And then I want to share with you, currently I have 173 shares. I'm hoping to get that up this month. And I'm going to tell you two ways I'm going to do that just in a second here. But my average price is $26.31. This is an important number to kind of think about for the next couple of minutes, because what I'm about to share with you is something that some would do, but maybe some wouldn't. And it's what I did there on Friday afternoon. So current price now, this is different, right? It's now, what is the current price? $30.97. So it went down just a little bit from the time I updated this to today. And unrealized gain, it's going to be just under $4.84 now. So my share appreciation, I'm going to just call it $800, okay? So I'm up $800 in share appreciation. I'm up $800 in dividends so far received. So up $1,600 total between the two. So life is very good. I like that a lot. And yeah, so what I did was, let me just open it up here. I sold a covered call on MSTY. So I have 173 shares here. So that allows me to purchase one covered call. Or sorry, I shouldn't say purchase, right? We want to use the right term. I was able to sell one covered call, which is 100 shares or one covered call. You can see the number one down below here. You can also see the fill price for this was $80. So what I've done is I've put my shares out there into the world, said you can buy my 100 shares of Misty for a certain price, a strike price, which I'll reveal to you in just a moment here. But in turn, you're going to pay me $80. So I've collected that $80 in premium already. It's already been utilized as well. And I want to tell you how I utilized it, but I kind of want to reveal it one at a time here. But I got $80 for putting that up there. Now, let's take a look. This is for December 20th, right? And that's the same time as the Misty Synthetic currently is as well. And then let me go down and grab the next screenshot here. This was for, December 20th. It was a $34 call. So what I did is I sold this covered call. I collected $80 in premium. I sold it at $34. Now, if you recall, the current share price is $30. And my purchase price, my average price of Misty is $26. Now, some of you are going to say, don't do that because this thing's going to 45. This thing's going to 40. And you know what? I knew that. That thought process was out there when I made this happen. And I said to myself, am I content with just waiting for that distribution every single month? Or can I do something else? Can I make my side hustle another side hustle? And that's what I did. So here's what I was thinking. I'm in at $26. If I sold this at $34, that's $8 in share appreciation times 100 shares. That's $800 plus all the dividends I've received so far, which is $800 there too. I'm feeling pretty good about this decision. So if Misty gets to $34 or above by December on the date, December 20th, then these shares will be sold. They will be gone. Somebody else will own them. And I'll still have 73 shares. Well, by then, hopefully I've bought more, obviously, but I'll still have 73 shares left over. And then we'll make a decision at that point. So if I sell these 100 shares on December 20th, that's $3,400 coming to me, which I can use to buy something else, right? So my thought was, can I make my side hustle here, make me another side hustle? And I'm going to utilize that money too. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, Mike, can you still get the dividend? And I Googled it here for you. And I just typed in, when selling a covered call, do you still get the dividend? And so it says here, after you sell a covered call on XYZ, Z for you in America, you collect your premium and you still receive dividends if there are any. So yes, there will be one payment by then, and any potential capital gains on the underlying stock unless it's called away. So this is the thing. Sometimes they do get called away. So your call could get called away early, especially around dividend time. So if this share price by, what is it, 8 days from now gets close to that $34, my options could get called away. That's the risk. It's important to note that any capital gains received from holding the stock are capped at the strike price. So my strike price is, put it up there, $34. Okay. Let me tell you, I am totally content. If the price gets to $34 and above, and these are gone, I'm content. I'm really happy that I made $80. Okay. Now, if I had waited like 10 minutes, because yesterday Bitcoin and Misty were going up and down, but I had waited, I don't know, it was about 15 minutes. I could have made $95 on this one. What's the saying? C'est la vie. All good. But I'm happy, right? I got my $80. Life is good. And then so the other day I put a post up here, and the post was, what should I buy with my NVIDIA dividend? And I'm going to be like Elon Musk here. Whatever happens in the survey, I'm going to do it. And so far, 74% of you have voted on Misty. 151 votes so far. We also have Coney in there. I put Rocket Lab and Palantir because I really do want to own those two. I see a bright future in both. And yeah, I definitely do. But they're not winning this poll, right? So I'm going to end up buying Misty with my NVIDIA dividends. But unless things change here in the next 8 days. But here's the deal. I'm not going to buy those Misty shares with the NVIDIA dividend until the X dividend date. So once the X dividend date happens, then I'll buy it. And for me, the reason is because every time Misty pays out a dividend on the X dividend date, the share price usually drops down to the value of that dividend. So last month it was just over $4. Who knows what it's going to be this month? The people at yieldmax have been really conservative with their last couple of distributions on some of the other ETFs. For example, NVIDIA paid out how much? $1 or $2, something like that. And everybody was expecting more. But what everybody's thinking is that maybe they're putting some of that income they've made into the NAV, right? Or into the price of the stock so it doesn't sink. And so I'm totally okay with that. If you watch my other videos, I am okay with that. So are they going to do the same thing with Misty? Are we going to get a $4 dividend? I don't think so. But maybe a $2 dividend, that'd be great. And then the rest goes into the share price. But the point is, I'm going to have, I'll show you in a second here, money from NVIDIA in my account. It should be here now. Up here in Canada, Equestria, we get it later, just because they have to take the tax out. But I'm going to take that money. I'm going to do whatever the poll says at that time. So I'm going to buy MSTY, but it won't be until the X dividend date. And my goal, the reason for that is because I'm trying to lower my average cost. And you guys saw my average cost is $26.31. Current price is $30.97. So let's just play pretend here. Let's pretend that this thing goes down by $2 because of a $2 distribution. So then it would be 28. It's still above my average cost, but I am in a accumulation phase over here. I'm looking to get this thing to $500 a month every single month without fail. So 173 got me that last month because it was just over a $4 dividend. But if it was a $2 dividend, it wouldn't do it, right? So that's my goal here, is to get this up to, so it can oh my goodness, consistently pay me $500 a month. That's my goal. That's what I would like. That's pillar number 2. Although let's talk about pillar number 1. Let me share my screen with you here. And pillar number 1 is NVIDIA. And I thought I was done with NVIDIA paying. I thought it was going to pay me $500 a month, but the last 3 months it's been under 459, 391, and 363. So I might have to. I may end up having to put more money into NVIDIA to pump it up a little bit, but I'm not going to do that yet because I'm not super fond of the path that it's going right now. But we'll sit back and we'll watch it, right? NVIDIA so far has paid me $39.57. MSTY's paid me $12.33 Canadian, so I've been pretty happy with that. So what did I do with the $80? What did I do with that $80 that I earned from MSTY's covered call? Again, if I had 200 shares, I could have done 2 of these. I would have made 160. A friend of mine has 500 shares. He could have made $450, and essentially that's like a full distribution, right? $450. So what did I do with the $80? Well, I had told you guys in my post here, I really liked these 2 down below, Rocket Lab and Palantir. Well, I made a decision here. I went with the lower of the 2, and I bought 5 shares of Rocket Lab. Right? I'm now 5 shares richer of Rocket Lab. I didn't have those shares before. I didn't have the chance to buy those shares, but I used the covered call from MSTY to make that happen. And I'm going to keep using the covered call to make these happen. If I'm allowed to, right? If I still have that amount of shares come December 20th. Now, you may have asked, why didn't you do it with NVIDIA, NVDY? And I can definitely share that with you. Let me go back to the sheet right here. I'm going to zoom over to NVIDIA. My average price for NVIDIA here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in green, is $28.71. Right now, NVIDIA is under that. I think NVIDIA is probably in the high $25 range. So the only option that I could have sold what that would have been worthwhile to me was $27 strike price, which is underneath my average share price here. It would have paid me $40 per option. I could have sold 3 of them for $120, but I didn't find that one to be worth it, because if NVIDIA went up in price and it got to this $27 strike price, well, I'd be selling at a share price loss. Not an overall loss, because I've got dividends from this for the last 7 months, but from a share price loss. And I just didn't want to risk it. So that's the difference between the NVIDIA buying the covered calls and the MSTY buying the covered call. With MSTY, if it sells, I don't care, because I will be up and it will have made me money. And then the stock market isn't just 2 ETFs. The stock market is vast. There are thousands of opportunities out there, and it's okay if it sells at $34. So what would you do? How do you feel about what I just did? Have you thought about doing this yourself? What kind of plans do you have? Are you just going to keep piling that money on? Or are you using that money already? Tell me what you're doing. I think that is everything I wanted to cover. There is MSTY's page here on YieldMax. There's how much it paid last month, $4.19. But yeah, I just wanted to stop in on the Saturday here and say hello. let you know what I did yesterday. I know for some of you this would be a new concept, so happy to share that with you. And maybe it opens up your mind to do a little bit more of that yourself. For me, I do want to do covered calls really, really badly. So for me, I'm just kind of working up the funds to make that happen, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so if you take a look, the last video, or the video I'm going to post at the end screen here, that's going to be the Micro Strategies earnings call. Like I said, fast forward all the way to the Michael Saylor portion of it. I'm also going to post my last MSTY video on here that got just over 2,000 views in one day. So thank you very much for tuning in. And before we really get going here, I wouldn't be doing myself a service if I didn't ask for you to hit that subscribe button. I'm about 230 away from my goal of 2,000 subscribers by December 25th, 2024. Without you, I can't make it happen. So do that. Check out the links below. And thanks for tuning in. My name is Mike. This right here is Health and Wealth. I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.